Welcome back to The Explainer. I am thrilled you're joining me today because we're looking at an incredibly fast-moving, really high-stakes situation unfolding right now in Kolkata, West Bengal. We're going to break down exactly what's happening, why it's happening, and the broader implications for literally millions of people. Over the course of just 24 hours, a single localized tragedy has triggered a massive statewide policy shift under the newly formed government. It's a story of immediate action, serious controversy, and complex urban challenges, and we are going to unpack the whole shebang step by step. Let's get right into it. Okay, let's dive into this. The core question driving our entire analysis today is this: how does a single, localized fire trigger a massive, statewide political shift in under 24 hours? It's a fascinating sequence of events. We're looking at a situation where the new administration, led by Chief Minister Suvendu Adhikari, has radically altered how the state deals with urban zoning and illegal structures. As we go through the reporting, my goal here is to just impartially map out exactly what's being said, looking at both the strict government enforcement and the immediate, very real impact on local communities. To understand the sheer scale of this shift, we kind of need to drop right into the middle of the action. Picture this. It's Wednesday, 5 p.m. Residents on G.J. Khan Road in Tiljala look outside, and what do they see? Bulldozers rolling in. They're accompanied by men wielding sledgehammers and a massive deployment of armed forces. Without any prolonged legal battles or those drawn-out municipal notices you usually see, the state just began physically tearing down multi-story buildings. This wasn't some minor civic operation, It was a sudden, dramatic, and highly visible demonstration of state power right in the middle of a bustling neighborhood. And how exactly is this Iron Hand policy being executed? Well, it's not just one department acting alone. It is a highly coordinated, multi-tiered approach designed for maximum immediate disruption of these illegal sites. First up, the power utility, CSEC, conducts immediate audits and permanently cuts electricity to illegal buildings housing factories. Boom, power's gone. Second, the Kolkata Municipal Corporation, or KMC, halts the water supply. Third, paramilitary forces, specifically the BSF and CRPF carrying automatic weapons, seal off a 200-meter perimeter to completely control the area, and only then does the actual demolition begin. Let's move to and see how this builds. Backing up from that aggressive government action we just looked at, to the immediate trigger event that happened just a day earlier. The absolute catalyst for this massive deployment of state machinery was a deadly fire that broke out on Tuesday at 1:45 p.m. in a factory situated in Tiljala. This localized incident, that's the sudden spark that ignited the entire multi-agency response we just unpacked. The tragic details of that fire are just stark. The incident claimed the lives of 2 laborers and injured 3 others. And according to the reports, this wasn't just a tragic accident in a standard facility. No, it occurred in a building that had absolutely no approved building plan and a complete total absence of basic safety and fire norms. It was operating entirely outside the legal framework. Following the fire, the 2 owners of the factory, Sheikh Nasir and Shamim Mohammed, were promptly arrested. The horrific loss of life in an entirely unregulated environment, that provided the immediate justification for the government's sweeping response. But what truly sets this situation apart is the unprecedented speed of the bureaucratic response. The timeline here is absolutely crucial. The fire is reported at 1:45 p.m. on Tuesday. By 11 a.m. the very next morning, a joint committee across 4 different government departments submits a comprehensive report on the incident. By 2:15 p.m., Chief Minister Suvendu Adhikari publicly announces the demolition plan. And by 5 p.m., the bulldozers are literally breaking down walls. In just over 24 hours, the state apparatus moved from an initial emergency report to physical demolition. It is a clear, deliberate showcase of the new government's intent to move with absolute promptness. But of course, that incredible speed comes with an immediate human cost. Listen to what one displaced resident had to say about the experience. They said, "We were not even given time to appeal before a court of law. We were not given a chance to take out most things. We have all documents." Calcutta is a city where thousands of illegal buildings house mixed-use spaces. That means businesses and family homes are stacked right on top of each other. So, when bulldozers arrive with zero warning, locals are forced to watch their homes and livelihoods ripped apart in an instant, totally stripped of the standard judicial processes and appeals they normally rely on. Now, what's really interesting here is how directly this contrasts with the residents' perspective we just heard. The strict justification from Chief Minister Suvendu Adhikari is crystal clear. He states, "The illegal workshop or factory did not have a building plan. Completely illegal. We will adopt a policy of zero tolerance." The government is arguing that the complete disregard for basic safety norms, which, as we saw, resulted in death, negates the luxury of long drawn-out legal appeals. They're presenting this zero-tolerance approach as an absolute necessity to prevent future tragedies, effectively stating that safety and legality must supersede the immediate disruption to residents. So where exactly is this zero-tolerance policy actually being applied? Well, the chief ministers specifically named 4 acute problem areas in Calcutta: Kasba, Tiljala, Mominpur, and Ekbalpur. Now, as noted in the source material, these specific zones share certain demographic characteristics, notably having considerable Muslim populations. Furthermore, the newly formed state government has brought forward political allegations claiming the presence of illegal Bangladeshi settlers in these targeted neighborhoods. So the geography of this crackdown is deeply intertwined with the broader, highly sensitive demographic and political narratives currently present in the state. And this brings us to a really fascinating comparison made in our source material. You see, the term bulldozer justice isn't exactly new to Indian politics. In Uttar Pradesh, under Yogi Adityanath, the bulldozer has been heavily utilized as a highly analyzed, often divisive symbol. Now, contrast that with Bengal under Suvendu Adhikari, where this newly adopted rapid demolition tactic is framed explicitly around unsafe illegal factories. The source draws a direct parallel between these two models, highlighting how a tactic popularized in one BJP-ruled state is now being aggressively mirrored as a tool of governance in newly won Bengal. To truly grasp the magnitude of what the bulldozers are rolling over, we have to zoom out for a second and define the root cause of the city's architectural chaos. It's called the nexus. This isn't just about a single rogue builder making a mistake on a Tuesday. The source describes a deeply entrenched, systemic alliance of politicians, police, civic officials, and unscrupulous developers. For years, this nexus has allegedly facilitated the mushrooming of thousands upon thousands of illegal structures across Calcutta. It's a citywide, systemic crisis where corruption has literally shaped the concrete skyline. And the deadly consequences of that nexus, well, they are a matter of public record. Let's look at the timeline. In March 2024, in Garden Reach, an illegal under-construction building collapsed, leaving 13 people dead. Just a few months later, in January 2025, in Tullygunge, the pillars of a 4-story building simply collapsed, causing the entire structure to tilt dangerously. In these instances, KMC officials admitted they couldn't even find approved plans for the buildings. Citizens have long accused the civic authorities of turning a blind eye, basically allowing builders to construct and even rebuild unsafe structures with total impunity. And this brilliantly illustrates the massive ideological shift in governance we are witnessing today. The previous approach, which was articulated by former Mayor Farhad Hakim, argued that once an illegal building is inhabited, demolition becomes incredibly difficult for humanitarian reasons. The strategy was supposed to be to catch it early, though, as we've seen, that often failed. Now contrast that with the current Chief Minister Suvendu Adhikari's approach: absolute zero tolerance. Immediate and permanent cuts to power and water, followed by rapid demolition, regardless of whether families are currently living and working inside. It is a complete 180-degree turn in municipal governance. Which brings us to the most crucial question we really must ask ourselves after reviewing this source material. Does a zero-tolerance bulldozer policy finally bring an end to decades of systemic corruption and deadly building practices? Or, by bypassing legal appeals and immediately displacing residents, does it merely trade the humanitarian crisis of unsafe buildings for the humanitarian crisis of sudden homelessness? It's a complex, highly charged issue balancing the absolute need for public safety against the fundamental rights of urban residents. Thank you so much for exploring this with me today on The Explainer. I hope this analysis has helped you grasp the gravity and the speed of what's happening. Until next time, keep questioning and keep learning.